King Luck MX Park, made by unknown at this point. It was released in 2009, so 9 years ago. It was a part of Track Competition 1, and this third track, this video, is also going to be a part in that competition, so good old tracks being released in the track competition era. So sorry for not being able to call out who made it. The description went out to Factory BR21 for teaching the creator everything he needed to know apparently. So Factory BR at least has some credit. Factory BR used to be another cool guy that hung around the forums, made tracks and stuff back in the day. As you can see, it looks older, graphics aren't that turned up. Or I mean, mine are turned up, but decals and stuff aren't that high quality since it's quite old and people didn't have too good computers, and I don't think people even played in 1080p. So that's something. Other than that, you can see that the fog is actually being used, which is not very commonly used. It's one of the settings you can tweak in tile info file, lighting file I believe. So you can actually get fog on the track without having to do the rain billboard thing. So it's quite nice, but not really being used too much. Overall, you can see that it's a sort of grayish tone to the track, and also these fences has collisions in it, so you can probably tell when I landed on one. So quite nice, and pretty big track, obviously being overscaled, but most people's first-ish tracks are. So, but still, being fun to ride, not completely unreasonable. Going to come up here to Red Bull banner, that's, or soon at least, that's, back in the day you had a few objects and a few decals to work with, and people tried their best to make something out of it. So it's pretty nice environment still. Got some trees, color vibrations isn't too much, but other than that it's pretty nice. At least it's no Seattle mud race. And we go down again. Obviously being a bit slippery since it's an old track. Most objects have collision too, because it's an old track and things actually had collision back then. So since this track is pretty long, I'm actually gonna be happy with one lap on this one, since I don't wanna make the episodes too long anymore, because I have a super bad internet connection, being 1.5-ish megabytes up and 10 to 15 down. So uploading one episode of this probably takes 6 hours, give or take, depending on how long they are. So yeah, let's move to the next track. Amurai Powersports S6. This is one of the first Supercross tracks I ever enjoyed. Not really sure why, but it's something about it being just so simple, I guess, as it's quite a simple track. It's not too hard to figure out. Can't tell you who it was released from, as I couldn't find a track post anywhere. I do believe it was released on Pure MXS, and Pure MXS is unfortunately dead, so yep, it's a shame, but I can't tell you who made it. This whoop section has since 2010 or something annoyed me. It's so hard to get through. I don't know if it's my setup that's wrong, what's wrong, but that whoop section is one killer. Other than that, this track is really solid. Like, it's super easy to find lines. That Dragon's Back is super forgiving. Nice little double. berm to the finish line. So if you're new to Supercross, this track is definitely worth checking out. Traction is way different than traction is nowadays, but track is still killer. And second tricky part here is if you don't get up clean there, you're not going to get the drive to get over all of the on-offs there. See, that is the best I have ever gotten through this section. I can tell you, I've easily done that section hundreds and hundreds of times, I think. Just such a nice track. It is a bit slippery, but it's definitely worth it. Used to challenge myself, beat my time trial time all the time here. Okay, so let's move on to the next track on this compound, which is just sort of a cruise around national throw whips track. And if you download my Massive Moto Park, you're actually going to recognize this piece. A long jump, so if you download my track, that's where I got the idea from. I felt like, yep, I also want to have one of those. So that's the inspiration I had for a long time. Another jump. Perfect landing. It's so slippery, so you have to be careful not to slide out. You can either go inside or outside. If you go outside, you can't jump too far. Go for the inside next time around. Bit too far. Luckily there's a berm here. Too short. Getting over, and let's try. Oh, that's not gonna work. Up, balls to death. Alright, that's it for Amurai Power Sports. Let's move on to the final track here of this episode. Lodge Forest MX. This is easily one of the top tracks of all time, if you ask me. I've played so much on this track. I remember being over at my friend's house, and I think we just sat and talked about everything and played this track for... When I looked at the time, I think we had played for 55 minutes without even changing player, just playing and talking. So this track, another track that's part of the track competition 1, more of a open... I mean, compared to the King Lock one, this is also set in a forest, so not completely different, but this is very big, very open, and has very nice jumps. And actually the traction isn't... well, it's sort of terrible, but compared to the other old tracks, at least you have some here. It's quite low in resistance, so it's easy to wheelie or wheelie over. Got some nice ruts, and the tabletops on this and just jumps in general are super nice. Super nice to just throw whips over, just laying it over a bit. And you have some braking bumps and bumpiness in the track as well. And it's really good for being 9 years old. It's like, it's just such a pleasant amount. It's not really difficult, but it's still there. Occasionally that might happen to you as well. And the jump coming up here, this is arguably one of my all-time favorite jumps. And it's just because I realized I could do this. And 8 years ago when I started playing this game and played this track, or 7 years ago maybe, At least when I realized I could throw anti-whips, I was so stoked. Like, nobody showed me what to do. It was actually a mistake the first time around. I just came up sort of the wrong way and like, what happened here? And I realized, oh, that's an anti-whip or turn down or whatever that's called. And that's basically how I learned to throw down anti-whips. Simply by coming out of the turn, turning a bit weird and then throwing it back around. So quite a fun story. If you've seen most of the videos on my channel since a few years back, you're actually going to recognize this from one of the Storken MXS challenges videos, where you should jump over that crest on some specific bike. It's not too difficult to do, you just have to try a few times and you'll get it. So that's one lap. I'm gonna go for one more here. It's so nice, you can just lay it over, scrub it, and sort of full speed scrub. Especially this one, you can scrub so hard. I mean, on a 450 it's a bit more difficult as you're gonna have so much speed, but on a 250 this is just perfect. The 450s wasn't even released when this track was released, so no 450s please. Just gonna ruin the experience. But riding these old tracks, this is what makes me enjoy the game again. Like, I haven't played as much, been moving into a house, working, actually trying to be social with my wife and dogs and stuff. So definitely not played as much as I've used to, but these tracks, riding these old tracks, it makes me happy, makes me want to play more compared to some of the new tracks, which is, can't say they're trash because they obviously look to be looks to be more high quality than this one. But I think the feeling of the old tracks are something that you don't feel in the new ones. Let's just try to get nasty here again. Well, almost worked. But the feeling of the new tracks, as I've said before, it doesn't feel like it has a soul, it doesn't feel like someone really learned the hard way and learned to do it their own way. It feels like someone was teaching someone else and they copied each other's styles and decals and objects and whatnot. So I think writing these old tracks to me is like music or art or something for someone else that tells you a story. It doesn't tell me a story, but it tells me that someone put the time and effort in, tried to figure out their own stuff and their own way and make the track their own, rather than just someone else made their jumps this way, rut should be this way, and let's steal those decals as well. So definitely a special feeling writing these old tracks to me. But also that's a bit nostalgic, like you have all these great memories. You pick up the game for the first few times, you load the tracks, and it just takes you back to a zone you haven't been in for so long. But this video is going to take forever to upload already, so I'll cut out the episode here, and thanks for watching. And if you have any tracks you want me to show off here that I might enjoy as well, just leave them in here and they might come up at some point. So thanks for this time and see ya in the next episode.